Welcome back to another episode of the Rational Football League Show. My name is Emmett Swarat, here as always with my co-host Brendyn Ford. We are giving our reaction to the Colts-Jaguars game in which the Jaguars ended up pulling this one out 37-34. I know we were kind of surprised by the ending score here because I think it was halfway through the game or all the way up to the fourth quarter, it was like 2010. So the Colts put up 24 points in the fourth. The Jags put up 17. Ended up being a fireworks show. B, what's your takeaway from the Jaguars' perspective?
Yeah, dude, if I can do mental math here, the both teams scored a total of 41 points in the fourth quarter, which is incredible. Jaguars put up 17. It's crazy. No, this was a big win for the Jags. They might be turning a corner here, maybe. I mean, Doug Peterson was almost coaching for his life. They had to win that game. Definitely a winnable game against the Colts. And they did. Trevor Lawrence went 28 for 34 for 371 yards and two touchdowns, one pick. Had about 10.9 yard per attempt average there. Tank Bigsby is a tank. I think he might be just taking over that running back room. I don't know if they're using Travis Etienne a whole lot. I don't know if he got hurt. I don't think he did. I just think that Tank had the hot hand. Now, granted, Tank ran for 13 or had 13 carries, ran for 101 yards. One of those carries was 65 yards long, but they're still, hey, the dude gashed him, scored on him. Great there. But something to look forward to maybe in the future, though. Maybe Tank is taking over that running back room. Look at the team recap real quick. Obviously the score with what it was, both teams moved the ball well. The Jaguars had 20 first downs. One thing to look at though, they converted only 30% of their third down. So a little bit trouble there. It kind of tells me things were a little bit sloppy for the most part. But yeah, it was a big win for the Jags, and maybe they might be turning a corner here.
Yeah, well, I do want to give you one note about this because I'm sure Jaguars fans are, if they're, whoever's watching this is probably saying it to themselves. I believe there was a rumor that Travis Etienne is on the trade block at this point. So I think we can pretty much confirm Tank Bigsby has taken over that running back room. He doubled the amount of carries that Travis Etienne had. But for me, my takeaway is I think they found the way to work with Trevor, which was get the ball out of his hands quick, right? Don't let him sit here and try to make a second read. Don't let him try to run around and make something happen. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, not there, get it out. I think his average time to throw was, let's try to see for the game, I think it's 2.35.
Yeah,
which is above league average. I believe league average is 2.5. I think it's also the best number he's had all season. And it worked. Like we mentioned, he completed 28 of 34 completions, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did still throw an ugly pick. But again, an improvement is an improvement. And also, here's the key factor. And we've kind of talked about this before in our Trevor Lawrence overrated video. Again, you can go check that out if you want to. Trevor's biggest weakness, because he's athletically gifted, he's got the big arm, he's got the great looks, whatever else it is. He struggles under pressure. But which quarterback doesn't? He's a little worse than the average quarterback. He's not your average bear when it comes to dealing with pressure. He's a little worse. The big thing about getting the ball out quickly and kept clean, he got the ball out in 2.26 seconds. Under pressure, 5.20 seconds. He's only pressured on one drop back, though. It was an incompletion, so, take that with a grain of salt. But it clearly what the game plan was for Doug Peterson going to this game was we want the ball out of Lawrence's hands and into our playmakers' hands. And it's successful. It was great. It worked. It's the best Trevor has looked in a while. I'm curious to see how they handle the adjustment. Because obviously what defenses are going to start doing now is they're going to start creeping up. They're going to start coming up, making him have to try to hold the ball just a tick longer, see if they can't get the pressure, see if they can't force him into a bad decision. When defenses start doing that, how does he adjust? I'm curious to see that. But at this point, at this junction in this game, good start, good turnaround. Let's see if they can maintain it and keep it sustainable. This is a Trevor Lawrence that I think we can all get behind. This is a Trevor Lawrence we kind of expect to see coming out of Clemson, right? It's a fantastic player. Again, is it sustainable? We will need to wait and find out. B, what are your thoughts on that?
I think I'm right there with you. something to add on to that point of like if and when teams do start adjusting, potentially moving more players in the box, I think they found a really good weapon in Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, that dude can take the top off the defense. He did that on Sunday. He scored an 85-yard touchdown, and he had. I was trying to find the next gen stats here to find the actual mile per hour speed he had. He had the fastest time this week, with like 22 miles per hour. I think it was like 22.1 he had on that like play. So Duke can fly. He can take the top off that defense. I think if and when teams do start, adding more players at the box, they can force a lot of one-on-one scenarios with Brian Thomas Jr. outside and just let that man cook. He was targeted 8 times, caught 5 passes, 122 yards. Again, that includes the 85-yard bomb he had, and of course that was a touchdown too. Duke can fly. He's explosive. I think they might have something in that offense with marrying the short, quick game with Lawrence, relying on Tank in that run game and using, Brian Thomas Jr. and Christian Kirk. They could turn a corner here. I really do think so. I think they found what their recipe is. Now is this time to keep on adding fuel to it. I'm pulling up their schedule real quick too. Yeah, so they have a big game in London against the Bears. And if they win that, they play the Pats the following week. And shoot, man, maybe they can win two straight games, be 3-4 going against the Packers, Eagles, and Vikings, and Lions, and Texans. So it doesn't get a whole lot easier after that. So they really have to win these next 2 games here.
Yeah, got to win the games you can win. I just want to add on to your point there a little bit before we start talking about the other side of the ball for the Jaguars. Yeah, exactly. That's what the counter is going to have to be, is when those defenses start creeping, when the safeties start playing up more. Can they be able to take advantage of that, attack them deep? Brian Thomas Jr. is obviously a great weapon. He's fast as hell. He's big as hell. We kind of knew that coming out of LSU. That was his specialty. He was a deep ball threat. I just want to pull up some numbers for you real quick on short passes. So I'm sorry. 76% of Lawrence's passes were either behind the line of scrimmage or within 9 yards. He was 22 of 26 on those for 176 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Quarterback rating of about 94.8. This is where he got really lethal, was in that medium range. He had 5 attempts in that range, 4 completions, 50 yards, and a touchdown, 147.9 rating. Here's the flip side. Here's the problem. Deep balls, 2 of 3, 146 yards, a lot of that coming from Brian Thomas Jr.'s 86-yard catch and run, 1 touchdown, and his lone pick. Passer rating drops down to a 109. So again, I think it's a matter of, I agree, the adjustment for Lawrence for defenses is going to be they're going to start creeping up. They're going to start trying to, get some hands on balls, pop balls into the air, and get some more receptions that way. When that happens, you need to start taking advantage with the double moves. You need to, and it comes down to their line buying enough time. Lawrence is going to throw a little bit of anticipation there because I think it was like 3 seconds. Yeah, time to throw for his deep balls. But they have a weapon that could definitely exploit that when defenses start doing it. But with that out the way and that said, let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball for Jacksonville, giving up 359 yards to a 39-year-old Joe Flacco. Not ideal. What are we seeing there on the defensive side, B?
Yeah, I mean, I just gotta say, I love that man, Joe Flacco. He just put on a clinic. That game was actually so fun to watch. He made that game so fun. But yeah, if you're the Jaguars defense, dude, you let Joe Flacco and Alex Pierce kind of gash it a little bit, and then they didn't even have Jonathan Taylor on the Colts offense either. So they had Trey Sermon out there. And again, the game, okay, we are the Rational Football League show. Got to look at it through silos. They did manage the Colts offense really well up until the fourth quarter started, and then they somehow let the Colts score 24 points. That obviously cannot happen, especially against a team that's as depleted on offense as the Colts were, missing their starting quarterback, missing their starting running back. Don't really have that great of weapons on the outside right now. You can't let a team like that score 24 points on you in like the fourth quarter, man. You can't. Especially now you put that stuff on like film too, so it kind of, the NFL is a copycat league. They'll exploit any weakness that there is, right? So something must have happened in the back end there that got broken down, that caused, again, 24 points to be scored in the fourth quarter alone. But yeah, that's my like quick thought, man. It's like you can't give up 24 points, man. That's not a good look.
Yeah, well, you're correct. It is actually on the back end that it was given up. I just got the numbers pulled up here. So the top 4 snap recipients were Andre Cisco, Antonio Johnson, Ronald Darby, and Montero Brown. I apologize to Mr. Brown if I'm saying his name wrong. But yeah, passer ratings of 158, 137, 115.8, and 111. Combined for those guys, let me do some quick math head here. 16, 20. On 26 targets, they gave up 19 receptions for, I'm just going to call it over 300 yards. So that's your issue right there. When you have 4 guys that are giving up over 110 passer ratings, giving up, over 75% completion percentage amongst all 4 of them. Actually, Darby did decent and gave up 60%, but 19, I believe it was 26. I said, for over 300 yards. That's your back end getting cooked by a veteran quarterback. On the flip side of this game, I know we just kind of talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive defense. I don't think we need to do that for the Colts. I think there's one storyline that we both are dying to talk about, and I'm really curious to see how this kind of conversation goes for Colts fans. This is our team. We bleed blue. What? Okay, if you're Shane Steichen, right, what do you do at quarterback, right? Because, and I want to set up why we ran this conversation here. Anthony Richardson, as we kind of mentioned in our pick show, he's had some highlight moments, but on the regular, basic day-to-day plays that you need a quarterback to make, he's not making it. I think he was like, last we checked, about 60% in that 0 to 10 yard range. That's not good quarterback play. That's not even like, I don't want to like sugarcoat and say, that's bad quarterback play. Joe Flacco, on the other hand, just dropped 359 yards, completing 75% of his passes with a quarterback rating of 121. Who do you roll with? How do you handle this situation if you're Shane Steichen?
I mean, honestly, it's a tough call. It's tough to say because you got that young quarterback there, but like, I would roll with Joe Flacco. I'm not just saying that just to say that. I mean, Joe Flacco was the best quarterback on his previous team last year, the Browns, and the Browns let him walk. I bet they probably want Joe Flacco back now. It's hard to, like, again, he's throwing 300-plus yards a game, dicing up a defense, and he's like, 38, 39, whatever. He's definitely up there.
39.7 years old.
So he's pretty much 40. So he's not like a long-term answer here, but like, I know they probably will go with Richardson because he's the young guy. He's the top 5 pick. You have to do it, right? Or else he caused chaos in Indy. But Flacco's damn good. He's damn good. I would even say he's like arguably top 16 right now, quarterback in the entire league. And I'm not even saying if I got a hot take. I'm being dead ass. When you're off the couch, 40 years old, and you can throw 355 yards a game, he brought the Browns to the playoffs last year. Granted, they lost in the first week, sure, but they had him rolling. Like, how can you discredit Joe Flacco right now if you are a Colts fan or any fan?
I will say, just put a cap on a little bit of expectations here. Last week, and I'm sure again, Colts fans are probably screaming this into their phones. He came off the bench against Pittsburgh, a notoriously fantastic defense this year, top 5 defense, and he did put up 16 to 26, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a passing rate of 106. Not anything to write home about, but not terrible numbers either, considering what that defense is. So he's not setting the world on fire right now, but I do want to at least add that context into it.
If he has one more 350-yard game, I'm buying his like jersey. It's done. It's done. If he comes out against the Titans this upcoming week and he puts on a clinic, it's done. It is over.
Aren't you embarrassed? Why would you randomly have a Joe Flacco jersey?
I just love Joe Flacco, man. I don't know how to explain it. When he's back there in like the pocket, he just oozes like wisdom. I don't know how to explain it. It's like his aura's there. I don't know how else to say it. He's just old man sage. He's just back there. I will say it was. Boom.
It was hard not to be cheering for him as he took off running. I think it was in the fourth quarter. He picked up like 18 yards. I'm sitting there thinking, I thought he was going to blow his hip out or something. I'm like, yo, you son of a bitch. Just go. They can't see you, man. Keep going. Yeah. And again, here's the tough thing about this conversation. It should be a simple one. It should be Flacco's a better quarterback. You play Flacco, right? This is a win now league. We're trying to win. And we'll have a conversation about Drake and the Patriots a little bit later about that. You should play Joe Flacco. He's clearly, evidently, obviously the better quarterback of the two. But what do you do with Anthony Richardson then? So, no. Is that an admit that this was a failure? This was a bad pick? Is it okay to bench your starting quarterback and let him learn and grow? What do you do with Anthony Richardson here? Because the problem to me with Anthony Richardson is accuracy. It's what it was in college. It's what we're still seeing now in the NFL. It's accuracy. He throws a pretty deep ball. He can throw the hell out of a ball. He can hit the broad side of a mountain, right? Just like Uncle Rico could. But when I need you to hit a 5-yard out to pick up a first down to keep the chains moving, can you do that? And so far, he hasn't. And I don't know that that's something that improves by sitting on a bench. I don't know if that's something that improves in this season at all. So do you give him the rest of the year to try to work on his throwing mechanics, get it fixed, go through it, and try to win with Flacco? Or do you keep running him out there and hoping that maybe in game he develops it? How do you manage that, B?
Yeah, you have a good point. The only way to kind of get better is reps. So like he needs the reps, right? Because I know he's been kind of banged up for the past couple of weeks here, or I guess like last week, I guess when he first got hurt. He had 87 dropbacks so far, so not a huge sample size, right? He only dropped back 87 times. But he's also like, let me make sure this is set up to show qualifying. Out of all qualifying quarterbacks, he has the 34th, like, I guess which way you want to say it, lowest, highest, whatever, 34th passing grade right now out of all qualifying quarterbacks with 48.4. So not great throwing the ball right now. At least from a PFF stat grading view, right? There's a bunch of stuff that kind of goes into it. But I think it's directionally correct. There's struggle there, right?
I'll take it one further there. Just to give you some of my passing grade, I'll go with, if people want, because I know there's a whole thing of, the passing grades are subjective, blah, blah, blah. I'll take it one further. He has the worst completion percentage in the league out of all quarterbacks at a 50.6%. Worse than Bryce Young. He has 3 touchdowns to 6 picks. He's still tied for the league lead in picks after not playing a game and a half with Will Levis and Jordan Love. I'm sorry, with Will Levis. When it comes to quarterback rating, he has the second lowest quarterback rating in the NFL with a 60.2, right ahead of, or behind, I guess, technically, Bryce Young. I mean, it's no matter how you slice it, he's not playing the position well. And here's the caveat of what we're talking about. He does lead the league in average depth of target. So when he's needs to push the ball down the field, it seems to be that's where he's good at. But when it comes to the little things, the mundane plays, the keep the chains moving kind of plays, he can't do it. Again, 50% completion percentage. That's terrible. That's not NFL level. 6 interceptions, leading the league after not playing a game and a half. That's awful. I mean, you just can't play that way. So
yeah, and if I'm the Colts, just to answer your question, if I'm the Colts, I'm really slow playing this thing. Richardson, get healthy, man. Get healthy. We're gonna let Joe play. We don't want you banged up. Going into we don't want your 80% over Joe Flacco's 100%. Get healthy here, and then the offseason, it's gonna be a tough conversation in that place, because then you think like, obviously Flacco's not a long-term solution, right? This isn't like a reverse age scenario of Brock Purdy and like Jimmy G coming in, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's obviously they know the Brock Purdy 49ers do. He's the future. He's young. He was a rookie when we stepped in, whatever. This is the opposite scenario. Like, you can't have Flacco for another 3 seasons. Like, maybe he could. Maybe he can prove us wrong and play till he's 43. You know, he's out there throwing dimes at 40 right now. I wouldn't doubt it, right? But you gotta like think like, okay. And again, I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. I'm thinking of this upcoming off season, right? But will the conversation be, okay, we give, you know, AR-15 one more season to kind of prove it? Because that's his 3rd year, you know? And at that point, you kind of make that choice of, do we pick up a 5-year option? Do we let him walk? Do we like deal him? We can't let him walk on the team, but do we trade him? Do we move on from him? Whatever.
I will start to say we need to probably bring this conversation to close here. We're kind of running for a while, but here's the argument against it, right? Obviously, of going with Flacco and moving on from Richardson. He's got 161 attempts in the league. That's like barely a half a season. But it also goes back to the problem that you have to address with Anthony Richardson is it's the injuries, right? He can't stay healthy to get these reps, to get these targets. But even in that, you know, his first season, he had 84 attempts this season. He's got 77 so far. His completion percentage is down 10%. He's thrown 6 times as many picks at this point as he did last season. His quarterback rating has dropped 27 points. It's a small sample size overall, but at this point, he's regressing. So again, I don't think you should absolutely move on from him yet. Again, let him get healthy. Let him rest. Keep rolling out Joe Flacco there. You can even roll with Flacco until the wheels fall off. You know, if you give it 3-4 weeks and then Flacco starts playing terribly again, all right, cool, yep, Brett's healthy. Let's get him back in there, right? Hey, our quarterback. And let him ride us away and see what we got here. But so far, again, it looks like he's regressing, and so far he looks like it's a small sample size, but it looks like he hasn't been the answer so far.